Latin America's economic and geopolitical history has been shaped by the clash of two major paradigms, developmentalism and neoliberalism. These two projects, with roots in Cold War dynamics, continue to influence the region's geoeconomical perspectives to this day. A minimal history of how these visions were born says to us that in the early period between 1870 and 1949, Latin America gravitated toward liberal industrialization inspired by European and US models. Then, from 1950 to 1989, the region was involved between US led capitalist welfare in the Kennedy Alliance for Progress and Soviet style socialist welfare in the COMECON. Between this framework, a third path emerged with the non-aligned movement, in the practice, for example, of Tito's Yugoslavia or Nasser's Egypt, which gave rise to developmentalism as an economic strategy aimed at achieving industrialization and social welfare through state-led initiatives and sovereignty. In Latin America, developmentalism found expression in leaders like Perón in Argentina and Velasco Alvarado in Peru, advocating state intervention, national production, full employment, and independence from Western powers. However, after 1990, and in some places like Chile since 1973, neoliberalism became dominant following the collapse of the Soviet bloc. Guided by the Washington Consensus, it promoted privatization, fiscal discipline, and minimal state intervention, assuming that economic growth alone would lead to development. This trickle-down effect approach, however, is criticized until this day for sidelining social justice and national sovereignty. Nowadays, we can see the repercussion of both paradigms in the contrasting ideas across the region and in the clashes between Latin American leaders about how to achieve development. We can see this in the contrast between, for example, Maduro's Venezuela or Milei's Argentina, or between Bukele's El Salvador and Ortega's Nicaragua. These fractures may be explained why only Brazil has managed to transcend this by integrating into BRICS, a platform of the new multipolar reality in ascent. This leads us to the BRICS message to the peoples of Latin America, that balance between growth and development, between market and state, between modernity and tradition is possible at the same time, and that social welfare also exists outside the unipolar economic frameworks, or as Juan Domingo Perón once said, the goal of political sovereignty, economic independence, and social justice.